Hello, everybody. It's about that time. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Today, I do appreciate you stopping by. Today's beer comes from Toppling Goliath Brewing. These guys are in Iowa. This is the Rover Truck, which is an English oatmeal stout. Not a big beer, coming in at 5.7%. I usually have a little bit bigger beer than this for the final beer of the evening, but this was sent to me by Greg. And the note he writes on this one, Rubber Truck from Toppling Goliath, the first stout that he's had from Toppling Goliath, hoping to try some of their more renowned ones. He said he bought it at a craft beer store. So evidently, he's up in the northern, I don't want to say New England, but he's up in that area, guys. I'm not sure. I think he's from Massachusetts, but I may be wrong on that, guys. But he's able to, evidently they're distributed in his area. So I don't know, I haven't looked, but we're getting ready to. This is a 5.7%. I did not see it on the can when I looked a little while ago. I don't see it on here, guys, and they need to put that on there. Brewed by Toppling Goliath Brewing, and they're in Decorah, Iowa, under special agreement with Lakeland, Florida. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean here, guys. And it does have a canned on date of 03/01/18. So this is March 1st, canned on date, and today is the 13th of September. So you got fingers? March, April, May, June, July, August, September. It's 6 months old already, and it's only a 5.7%. So don't know how long you'd want to keep something like this. I don't know if they've used any coffee in the brewing process. It does not say that on the can, or he does not tell me that in his notes. But 5.7%, don't know if I'd want to keep this beer much longer than a year. Even though it's a stout, it's not an imperial stout, so probably want to drink this, and that's why I'm doing it, because he just sent this to me pretty quick. So with that being said, let's get on with it. We're going to jump over to Untappd, see if they have any other information. They're telling me it's 6.1%, and like I said, guys, it does not have the ABV on there, so I don't know whether I'm drinking a 5.7 because that's what Beer Advocate says it is, or I'm drinking a 6.1. So that's another reason why we want them to put that on the can. So evidently they brewed it before, I don't know how many times, and I don't know. I don't know whether I'm drinking a 5.7 or a 6.1 here, guys. Not sure. That's why it needs to be on the can. And that's probably going to cost them a grade point. They need to put that on the can if they're brewing different versions and the ABV is changing. Just me. That's just me, though. So, they also have the 6.1 listed at 35 IBUs. So, I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm drinking, guys. That's why it needs to be on the can somewhere. And their commercial description says, roasty almond aroma, hints of dry chocolate, with a mild but chewy oatmeal body. Take a ride on the Rover Truck. So, it is what it is. In my opinion, they need to have the ABV on the can, guys, so we know what we're buying and what we're drinking. Like I said, that's just me. That's just my opinion. So, like I said, final beer of the evening for me, a big 16-ounce can. So let's get it into the glass and see what we have here. Looks pretty dark coming out of the can, so we're going to give it a fairly aggressive pour here. We're not going to get it all in there, I don't think. But we got enough in it to nice khaki colored head, about a finger over into the light, guys. I'm not seeing any at all. It is pitch black, looks like a stout. To the nose we go. Guys, to me it smells like a low ABV stout. They have a characteristic that I've come to know by putting my nose to it. Roasted malt, maybe a hint of toffee or coffee or black molasses, caramel. Not a big coffee note, just very subtle. Maybe a little bit of bittersweet chocolate in there. It smells like a low ABV stout to me, guys. It does. So let's dive in and see what we got. Cheers, Greg. I do appreciate it. A nice session stout, if you will. Something you could have multiples of these if you so choose to, and not be too inebriated. A good transitional stout, if you will. Probably not something that I would purchase. If I'm going to buy a stout, I want something bigger than a 5.7 or a 6.1. I like my stouts at least 7%, like I do my IPAs and double IPAs. Something that has a little thicker mouthfeel, a bit more chewy than what I get from the lower ABV stouts. They seem to be a little thin and watery, like I think this is. So right now, decent beer, but nothing outstanding or world class. It does have a nice taste, guys. I will put you that alcohol is very well hidden. Whichever the ABV is, that's why I think it should be on the can. But it is what it is. Let's do the back end pour. Get the rest of it in there, so I can go out and sip on it, and let it come up to room temperature. Maybe work on that cigar I got out there. Nice beer. I won't take anything away from those guys. It is a nice beer, but I do think they need to have the ABV on the can. And if it's whether it's a 5.7 or a 6.1, that's a very low ABV stout for my taste. Now, if you're not into stouts or don't drink a lot of stouts, maybe it's going to be the perfect stout for you. So let me sip on this, and we'll come back and see where it ends up. All right, guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. It's a nice beer, I will say that. It would probably even get into the A category if it had the ABV on the can. I want to know what I'm buying and what I'm drinking before I buy a beer. That's just me, though. That's just me. And I know why they do that. That way they can use the same label year after year after year, depending, doesn't matter what the ABV changes to. But they're using a stick-on label. They're not having the can printed up or anything like that. So it's just saving them money and giving the beer a longer shelf life. It is a stout. It's not an imperial stout. It's a low ABV stout. And like I said earlier, I find those beers good transitional beer, if you will. If you want to get into a stout, this would probably be a good one to get your hands on and try it and not blow your palate out of your mouth. But people that are used to drinking stouts and imperial stouts, they want something a little thicker mouthfeel. And this is supposed to be an oatmeal stout, which usually lends a little creamier mouthfeel, but I'm not getting it on this one. It's decent beer, guys. It is. Don't get me wrong. It's a tasty beer, worth trying if you want to get into the stouts. But if you're used to drinking imperial stouts or imperial porters, this beer is going to leave a little bit of you wanting more or something different or better or bigger. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a well-made beer. Alcohol is very well hidden, but it is a low ABV beer. An A- beer in a B+ can. So that's where I'm going to put this. Let's do the final chug on this. Very nice aroma. Just a very subtle, slight hint of a little bit of coffee notes in there. It doesn't say that it was brewed with any coffee, so I don't think it was. We're getting that from the malt. Smells good. Final chug. And I've had some really tasty beers from this brewery before. They're not available here in this part of Virginia. But it is a decent beer. Worth picking up. Give it a try if you've not been exposed to a lot of stouts or anything like that. It'd be a good one to start off with. A good transitional stout. I wouldn't recommend if you're not used to drinking an imperial stout or imperial porter, something that's 8% or bigger, because this is going to be a little lackluster in the taste if you are used to drinking those magnitude of beers and that style. So I'm gonna give this an 87, guys, in the scale, because they didn't put the ABV on there, and I want to see that. I want to know what I'm buying or what I'm drinking. So A+ beer, and if it was an A+, if they did have it on there, it would only get a 90 from me, guys. Just barely into that range, because it's a little thin, a little watery to me. So 87 is what I'm going to give it. We're going to jump over to Beer Advocate. They say 3.87, which is in their B+ range also. And over to Untapped, they have it at 3.78. Again, barely into their B+ range there also too. So B+ beer, guys. It's unanimous from me and the other two sites. It's a B+ beer. And I would have gave it a little bit better grade if it had the ABV on the label somewhere. That's just me. I want to see the date on the can, and it does have that. And I want to see the ABV on the label, and it doesn't have that. So that's why I cut it just a little bit on that. So if you've had this one from Toppling Goliath, this is the Rover Truck, which is an oatmeal stout, and I wasn't getting a lot of the oatmeal in this one, to be honest with you. Usually that's a little creamier, a little bit better mouthfeel, and I did not get that on this one either. So this one's a little lackluster for what it is. So if you've had this one from them, let me know what you think, and until we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.